Hi, I'm Marcel Johnson. Tonight on Inside Louisiana Athletics, our fall sports are off to an extremely hot start to the season. Our Darren Walker is joined by assistant coach Brandy Husky to discuss volleyball's first road test of the season as they took on the Trojans of Little Rock. And later, Coach Lance Key talks Arkansas State and UL Monroe and looks ahead to in-state rival Louisiana Tech. But first, Louisiana football is 3-0 for the first time since 1988. Head coach Billy Napier talks this past weekend's nail-biting victory against their Sun Belt foe, the Georgia Southern Eagles. You're watching Inside Louisiana Athletics.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside Louisiana Athletics. What a Saturday afternoon at Cajun Field. Nate Schneider's 53-yard field goal sails through the uprights as time expires and the Ragin Cajuns run their record to 3-0 on the season. Here now to talk about that and a lot more is head coach Billy Napier. And coach, let's start with that kick because here's a guy in Nate Schneider who really had a good camp. He was making everything. Mm-hmm. But when the season started, the struggles kind of started for him. But just the mental toughness to go out there and put that thing through the uprights. Just talk about that moment.
Yeah, Nate's a competitor. I think he did have a great training camp. I think we were all excited about what he was going to bring to our team. And much like a lot of our players, when the games got here, they didn't play as well. They weren't maybe as fundamentally sound as they could be. The players around them can play better to help them. So he's a lot like some of the players on our team, and I think this is going to help his confidence. I think it was great for him to have that experience, and I know it was a big play. And I think we'll look back at this and say, man, that was a whole chapter in the book. But pretty special moment.
Talk about the decision that you had to make at that point on the 36-yard line. Just talk about the decision to go ahead and send him out there and the vote of confidence, I guess, that you had there.
Well, we've seen him make those, We've seen him make a number of those during training camp and even sometimes on Thursdays when we do 2 minutes. So he's got a big leg. There's no question that he was very capable from a distance standpoint. And it happened to be on the correct hash for him. Mm-hmm. And, I think he had a lot of confidence. I think the players had encouraged him earlier that he was going to get an opportunity. He did make the one on the other end. Right. So I think there was a little bit of that. But, time, distance, there was no question it was the right call.
Let's take a look at the action. Not a lot of scoring in the first quarter, Coach, but no lack of excitement. Georgia Southern takes the ball right down the field on a very long drive, 15 plays to be exact. The Eagles had it on 4th and 1 at our 3-yard line, but the defense comes up with a huge play early.
Yeah, it was great to see our defense just keep battling. I think showed some character there and some resolve to keep playing through it. We've got it to a 4th and 1 there. There's a huge play, 7-point play in the game. We don't win it without that stop. So really well executed by Cam Podesclo, A.J. Riley, and Farrod Gardner there on that big stop. So good detail, good execution, 7-point play.
Early in the second quarter, Georgia Southern takes a 7-0 lead, but the Cajuns come right back. 9 plays, 83 yards. Chris Smith with a couple of big runs during that drive. Great hard count by Levi there on 4th and 2 that gets the Eagles to jump. And then Trey Regis takes it in from 10 yards out to tie things up at 7 apiece.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chris, got banged up a little bit early. You saw kind of what we've all been seeing over the last year or two. Yeah, he's very capable. So I was hoping we'd get a full day of that, Chris Smith. But Chris did a good job. I thought Levi was sharp there. And certainly well-executed running play. Good job by Jalen Williams cracking the safety there, and a good downhill physical run by Trey to go tie football game.
Late in the second quarter, Braylon Tronhan gets the interception. That puts the ball on our 49-yard line, and Levi hits Peter LeBlanc for a 34-yard pickup, and that left 2 seconds on the clock. And the only reason I bring this situation up, of course, Nate missed the field goal, but like you mentioned earlier, that he did miss one earlier in the game, but was able to put it all together for the game winner.
Yeah, 2 good 2-minute drives before the half. We had some opportunities there. We threw an interception, which I thought was a really great play by the linebacker at Southern. And then, a big play there, well-executed chunk play that we practiced there for 2 minutes before the half. great decision, cover 2 conversion, hit Pete in the hole. And Nate goes out, misses the field goal. So a little bit of a missed opportunity for points there right before the half. But, like we've done a lot this year, we go in at half and adjust, come back out, and play much better.
Third quarter now, Georgia Southern gets a field goal to take a 10-7 lead. Cajuns offense answers to tie it up at 10 with the 25-yard Nate Schneider field goal. And the young guys on the team are starting to play bigger roles. You had freshman wide receiver Kyron Lacey making a big third down catch, and then freshman running back Imani Bailey with a 25-yard run on that drive.
Yeah, three rookies on offense. If you throw Tyler Brown in the mix too at offensive line, it's 4 freshmen that played major roles in the game. So I think we're going to see those guys continue to get better and have bigger roles in the future.
We go to the fourth now, tied at 10. The Ragin Cajuns offense starting to get yards in chunks now. 20-yard completion to Kyron Lacey. Jalen Williams with an 18-yard catch. And then Levi finds true freshman Errol Rogers for a 27-yard touchdown. The ball was a bit underthrown, but Errol made a great adjustment and was able to get his arms underneath it and make the touchdown catch.
Yeah, two second and long conversions there. Big plays. One to Kyron on the sideline, one to Jalen over the middle. And then we had a little push in the pocket there, and Levi wasn't able to completely follow through. The throw was a little short, but what a great catch by a guy that's playing in his first game.
Right.
So Errol made a critical play later in the game too. So we thought that he had that in him, and it was great to see him go do it when it mattered.
17-10 Louisiana. The Ragin Cajuns really dodged a bullet when Bo Johnson fumbled through the end zone before crossing the goal line, but the Eagles get the ball right back, and then Shai Wertz takes over. He hits Caleb Hood for a 28-yard touchdown. The Eagles go for 2 and convert, and this is where Shai kind of reminded me of Levi Lewis, just using that athleticism to make something happen.
No doubt. And they're a tough matchup in 2 minutes because you got to play them honest. You can't play them like a passing team. So limited in options on defense. And then, I think you're spot on. We didn't execute the defense the way we should on the 2-point play. But what a play. Avoids the sack, great balance, great catch, contested catch. So a lot of credit to Southern for moving it down there. Certainly some things we can learn from and do better.
So 54 seconds on the clock, 2 timeouts. 3 big plays get the Cajuns to the 36-yard line where the drive stalls. Again, 2 seconds left on the clock, and we all know now what happens. Nate Schneider, in a pressure-packed moment, to say the least, nails the 53-yard field goal. The Ragin Cajuns storm the field, and after the game in the locker room, it was quite a moment when you spoke to the team about that moment and how they'll be able to use that not only just this year but later on in life.
Yeah, I think up and down game, a lot of momentum changes in the game, a lot of chances to fold up shop. We kind of stayed the course, and certainly Nate is an individual player and competitor in person. To see him, overcome, I think was huge. We talked a lot about the team Friday in the team talk about being a mentally tough team that can overcome obstacles, and I think we showed that on Saturday.
All right, Coach, thanks for the time. As always, the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns will be in Boone, North Carolina next Wednesday as they take on the App State Mountaineers, and we'll have a preview of that contest right here on Inside Louisiana Athletics next Tuesday.
Next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, Darren Walker sits down with assistant coach Brandy Husky to discuss women's volleyball as they post a 9-0 record so far in their season.
You are UL Lafayette's #1 priority. That's why we're following guidelines set by national and local health experts to protect you during the COVID-19 pandemic. The university is reorganizing rooms and spaces to reinforce social distancing, sanitizing campus buildings, and mandating that everyone wears protective equipment. But don't take our word for it. Take a look for yourself at some of the many safety measures we're implementing, and you'll see that our priority is you.
To perform, you need speed, skill, strength. With every muscle, every move, you push your body to reach its full potential. But sometimes you just can't push through the pain. That's when you know it's time to address it. So when injury puts you on the sidelines, trust us to get you back in the game. Lourdes Sports Care, the team behind your team.
You are UL Lafayette's #1 priority. That's why we're following guidelines set by national and local health experts to protect you during the COVID-19 pandemic. The university is reorganizing rooms and spaces to reinforce social distancing, sanitizing campus buildings, and mandating that everyone wears protective equipment. But don't just take our word for it. Take a look for yourself at some of the many safety measures we're implementing, and you'll see that our priority is you.
We all have dreams.
I want to dance. I like to build things. I want to explore.
For over 120 years, the University of Louisiana at Lafayette has made it possible for young dreams to become realities. So go ahead, dream big. We'll help you make those dreams come true.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. The win streak is alive and well at Earl K. Long Gym. 9-0, the Ragin Cajuns volleyball team is now after a 3-0 weekend at Arkansas Little Rock. Joining us now, filling in for Heather Mercedes-Fontenot, is Brandy Husky, the assistant coach. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm good. I'm glad, happy to be here.
Good. 3 more wins in the win column, but considerably more difficult this weekend than what you guys have faced in the past.
Yeah, so it's really interesting that we're playing 3 matches back to back. It's really challenging, especially on our girls' bodies. And so when we were traveling, we tried to do some recovery while we were there. You know, we made the girls take ice baths at the hotel, and just making sure we're giving them enough time to like stretch and get really warmed up. Because you know, someone like Haley who takes as many swings as she does, like she's going to need a lot of recovery. And so we tried to make sure to work that into our itinerary.
The first set of the first match was kind of a sign of how competitive things were going to be. A 37-35 win. That had to be exhausting, not just physically, but mentally as well.
Yeah, and so I think in that match, or in that set, we actually had 26 ties in that set. And so it was a lot of back and forth with the other team, and it was a lot of fight that was going into it. And I think our girls did a really good job of, you know, there were a lot of times where they had game point, and we just tried to make sure and refocus the girls and tell them that this ball, we have to get this ball, and they accepted the challenge and did a good job. So.
You win the second set to go up 2-0, but the Trojans come right back and tie things up at 2 sets apiece. You go to the 5th set, tied at 8. So it's crunch time now. Kelsey Bennett had 3 kills down the stretch, and then Cammie Hicks and Desiree Johnson had a crucial block there at the end.
Yeah, so again, like the whole weekend, our outsides just performed so well. I mean, even though they did get as many attempts, like they took care of business, and then we had some fresh faces on the court. Cammie, who doesn't normally play, we're trying to do a good job of rotating our kids in so that they're getting the experience, and you know, later on in the season, whenever everybody's starting to feel it a little bit, we need those bodies. And so, you know, Avery did a really good job of distributing the ball to a couple of our new players. And yeah, Kelsey had a phenomenal weekend hitting wise. And, you know, we capitalized on it and came back, and again we fought the entire time, and it was we were lucky that we came out on top. So
right. Haley Wisnowski had 37 kills in that match, and then you go to the second match later that evening. And last week, Coach Heather and I talked about the word balance, and you certainly got that in the sweep of 4 players had double-digit kills in that game.
Yeah, so again, that's kind of what we focused on this week with Avery, was making sure that, Haley's our go-to kid, but we gotta distribute the ball to everybody to make our offense a little bit more balanced and get those kids the experience attacking-wise. And again, I think we did a really good job of kind of catching the other team on their heels a little bit with not always giving Haley the ball. And again, that's our setter doing a really good job.
And things kind of continued on the final match on Saturday. Offense really clicking. You were averaging about 18 kills per set in this one, and you win the first set 25-14.
Yeah, we came out really strong. We told them, if we're gonna get this win after that long 5-set match, we were like, we got to do this in 3 because we got another game to play tomorrow. And so the quicker that we can get out and start strong, the easier it's going to be for us to get that win in 3 sets instead of letting it go a little bit longer than necessary. So
right. On Saturday in the second and third sets, you had to fight for those two, and then with the match on the line, there was your go-to, Haley. She was getting the kill to give you the lead and the kill to seal the deal. Yeah,
and I think for the whole weekend, we actually ended up having 6 sets that were decided by 2 points, and those were 2 of them. And we just had to sit our kids down and tell them, like, we got to put this ball away right now, and who better to go to than Haley for sure.
I don't want to use the word adversity, but when you're being tested, let's just say that, you're being tested now. It's kind of the next step as you keep getting further on down the road when it comes to conference play. It's got to help you out later on down the road.
Yeah, for sure. And we're trying to focus a lot of that in practice, making sure that we're working on the right skills and trying to get better in every position. And right now, we're trying to really focus on our block and what our serve is doing at the serve line. And at the end of the day, towards the end of conference, the serve and pass game is going to be really important. And so we're trying to spend a lot of time on our serve, helping our block out so that we can put ourselves in a good situation. And that's probably what we're going to work on this week, is more blocking, more serving, and more serve receive. So yeah.
Back on the road this weekend, you play the University of Louisiana Monroe. You've had recent success against that program, but I would imagine that at this point it's more about your locker room and your team and keeping focused on getting better.
Yeah, we obviously want to prepare the right way, but we gotta, like you said, we gotta make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do on our side of the court, and then whoever we're playing is kind of secondary to what we're kind of focusing on. But they're a good team. They're really scrappy, and we think we have a little bit more size on them. And then plus, like, we're just trying to get our kids in and make sure everybody's getting the experience and getting reps in during the match. And we're hoping to get more wins this weekend.
All right, Coach, thanks for the time. Well done. We'll have highlights and reaction of that match against UL Monroe next week on Inside Louisiana Athletics.
Coming up next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, Coach Lance Key talks about splitting the past 2 matches between the Red Wolves and the Warhawks.
At Courtesy Buick GMC, now is the best time to buy.
It's true. With the current rates and discounts, now is a great time to buy a new or used vehicle.
Get $13,000 off the MSRP on a 2020 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew Cab. Stop by now at Courtesy Buick GMC in Lafayette.
The faculty will be impacted by advance, but really the faculty are the ones who have driven for decades this significant educational experience here. It's their passion and their love of students that have made undergraduate research and creative works, experiential learning in general, available to our undergraduate students. This is going to provide a mechanism for faculty to reach more students and provide the resources so that these faculty can entice more students into the experiential learning experience.
When it comes to professors, from a professor perspective, we are constantly looking to get students involved, not just in the classroom. I mean, we want that student that's going to raise their hand and engage, and we're actually looking, though, for not just that student, but for every student to engage in that same way. That said, it takes a lot of resources to not just do our own work, but to train other students to do it. When I think about my lab, for example, there's kind of my line of research and what I would do if I were just doing my own work and not mentoring anybody. And then there's all of the pieces involved in getting those students to engage in research in a meaningful way. There are financial resources, there are training resources. If I want to teach my students not just psychology, but how to do research of psychology, and not just psychology, but my particular area of psychology, that's a big burden for me to overcome. I've got to convince them that it's important, which I think just having the advanced program in place does. I've got to convince them or help them find resources, financial resources, so that they can take time off work or travel to a conference to present their work. And I've got to provide these fundamental skills that are about research that really aren't my expertise. So what the advanced program does for UL Lafayette professors is it provides us with extra resources to support those students, providing them with just the support of having an agency that's within the university that's entirely devoted to this little bit extra that they're trying to do.
It was all smiles on Senior Day at the Ragin Cajun Track and Soccer Complex as Louisiana defeated ULM by the score of 3-0. Cajuns getting a pair of goals in the first half and one more for good measure to start half number 2 to seal that 3-0 victory. Louisiana outclassed ULM, 16 shots for the Cajuns to just 4 for the Warhawks. Meanwhile, the Cajuns had 10 corners to ULM's 4. We came into the day talking about Louisiana needing to get Gwen Mummert and Carleen Beedry into the scoring sheet, and that's exactly what happened as the Cajuns improved to 3-3 on the young season, 1-2 in Sun Belt Conference play. Meanwhile, ULM with the loss falls to 0-3 on the young season. The Cajuns got a goal. Gwen Mummert got the scoring started early on with a header off of Carleen Beedry's corner. Then it was Beedry adding a goal here just inside the box to make it 2-0 Louisiana. Beedry would start half number 2 with a quick score coming off of a header, and that would seal the deal and make it 3-0 Louisiana. So the Cajuns get a much-needed win on Senior Day as Louisiana defeats ULM 3-0.
The Ragin Cajun soccer team got back in the win column this weekend as they went 1-1 on the week. Here now to talk about all of that and a little bit more is the head coach, Lance Key. Coach, let's start with Thursday night. You play Arkansas State at home. Not much going on for you offensively. You only got a couple of shots the entire game and wound up losing that one 1-0.
Yeah, Arkansas State's a tough team. They very, very mature. A lot of experience in their side. Team that we played twice last year and struggled to create goal-scoring opportunities against them last year as well. 3 one-goal games in the last 3 times that we've played them. They've got a dangerous player up top, and they like to get the ball forward and get the ball forward quickly, and it makes it difficult if we're not being clinical in the final third of the field with our final pass, which we weren't on Thursday night. Creates a difficult time in terms of creating chances, but then also sets you up for some counterattacks and because they want to get back to front as quickly as they do, that challenges the team over the course of 90 minutes. It becomes very taxing on our team in terms of the way we like to play and how we like to build. So, listen, credit to them. They're a very good side. Won the conference final last year. Started the season 4-0 so far this year. Difficult to score on, and they do enough in the attack to create problems for you, and they did that on Thursday night.
On to Sunday now, hosting UL Monroe. You had a few opportunities early on, specifically Gwen Mummert had a chance on a corner kick and it just didn't find the net, but you were keeping the pressure on the Warhawk defense early.
Yeah, we knew going into Sunday we were going to have to do better in the final third. We were going to have to be able to sustain possession going into the final third, and then ultimately when we get there is be purposeful and productive with it. We were able to get a number of corners, which we've actually done a fairly good job over the course of the season, getting corners and creating those opportunities off of set pieces. We get really good service most of the time from Lizzie Mayfield, who's out there. But we spent some time this week on over the weekend with Gwen on her technique and going up and attacking those balls out of the air. And I was happy for her, even though she missed the first one. She went straight down. It was just a little bit of a timing element, but she was able to shortly thereafter get another opportunity and put that in the back of the net. So, we got to score goals. We don't tend to give up a lot of goals. We've been pretty good in that regard. But we've got to score goals, and we've got to be more dangerous going forward. 37-minute mark, Carleen Beedry with the corner kick, and as you said, Gwen is there again. This time the header sneaks inside the right post, and you have a 1-0 lead. Yeah, as we said, so Lizzie has been serving a lot of our corners, but Carleen was in at the time, and she's a good ball striker. She's a dangerous attacking player. Hadn't really, prior to Sunday, hadn't really found her way and found her rhythm yet this year, but was happy to see her get a good quality service onto the top of the 6. We felt like if we could get good service onto the top of the 6-yard box, that good things could happen today, based on the way they defend their corners and how we felt like we have been attacking and just narrowly missing some of these chances. So obviously a great take from Gwen, and good to see her get on the score sheet. Good for her confidence. A few minutes later, Beedry is the recipient of a Caitlin Stamps pass, and she connects from about 10 yards out, and very quickly it's now 2-0. Yeah, Kate Stamps came on late in the game. I think at that point in time we had 7 true first years on the field, and going into some depth, but also relying heavily on the youth in our team, and with that sometimes comes a little bit of naivety with their inexperience. But she played a fantastic ball. It really started with our right back, Izzy Wheeler, played a very nicely weighted ball into Gwen. Gwen got the ball out to Caitlin very quickly, and we had that space to attack in that vertical channel. Carleen made a good run, took her first touch well, and then obviously finished inside the far corner, which is where you want to finish. And so I was happy for Carleen, certainly at that point. Great start to the second half. Less than a minute into it, Una Anastar sends one to Beedry, sends it to Beedry, and Carleen gets the header. She redirected that pass just enough to get it in the net. Yeah, it really started with a nothing play right over on our touchline. Another freshman, Maya Smith, who had really been playing well over these last few games and coming on nicely for us. Just a great effort play to keep the ball in play along our touchline, force their outside back to then have to create something with it, and we were able to win possession with Una's good pressure. And then she just saw Carleen on her own in the box, clipped a little ball in, and Carleen just flicked it onto the far post. And fortunately, the goalkeeper was too far to the near post, and there was space there to get to the back of the net. Ragin Cajuns win it 3-0 over the ULM Warhawks. Next on the schedule, 5 more consecutive home games, starting with Louisiana Tech and Texas State, a conference game, obviously. And we'll have highlights and reaction to all of that next week on Inside Louisiana Athletics.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, nothing God will help you show it. If you're happy and you know it, mange.
At Courtesy Chevrolet and Broussard, it's Truck Month, but it's also the best time to buy any new vehicle. Get a 2020 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 Texas Edition, $12,000 off MSRP, or get a 2020 Chevrolet Equinox LS, $20,988. Courtesy Chevrolet and Broussard.
Thanks for watching another episode of Inside Louisiana Athletics. Be sure to catch us next week for more Louisiana Ragin Cajuns coverage. Go Cajuns!